Good morning and welcome to this edition of the Lynne Hayes-Freeland Show. You know what, every now and then we have an opportunity on this show, and probably more than now, to just have a roundtable conversation to talk about issues, to talk about shared experiences. I know for myself, being a mom was one of the toughest jobs that I've ever had, but it was also the most rewarding job. Well, this morning I am surrounded by moms, and we're going to talk about what it means to be a mother in 2018, and I'm just going to go around the table and introduce everyone. Right next to me is Muffy Mendoza. She is the founder of Brown Mamas. She works at home. She's a married mom of 3. Next to Muffy is Brandy Lee, and she is a community leader within Brown Mamas as well as a change agent. She is working mom. She's a single mom of 2. Nicole Sims is a member of the board of Brown Mamas and as well as a parent organizer with A+ Schools. She's a married mother of 3 and grandmother. Tess Kenny is a community member of Brown Mamas, and she is the co-owner of Hand in Hand Counseling Services. She is a married mother of 2. Rounding out our panel, last but certainly not least, is Pastor Jessica Brown. She's a member of the Brown Mamas community as well as a founder of the 5A Elite Youth Empowerment Movement. She's a married mother of 2 with 1 on the way. When is that one due?
We don't know yet.
Okay, but we're good to have this conversation. Okay, all right. So, Muffy, when I introduce everybody, and just by way of background, let's talk about exactly this organization, Brown Mamas. Who are you and how did you get started?
Well, Brown Mamas was actually an organization that I started back in 2012. It was just me and a group of moms, about 4 or 5 moms who got together at my house to just talk about motherhood and the different things we were going through. And we just wanted a community for Black moms here in Pittsburgh. And so we started trying to just have more meetups, and that's what we did. And over the years, it's just kind of transformed into this phenomenal online and offline community full of Black moms where we can just be transparent about all the things that we go through as Black mothers, because our story is not always the same as other moms, as other moms in other cultures don't have the same stories that we have, but it's just a place, a space, even where we can just bond as well as have transparent conversations and ask for help.
So now I'm going to throw this out to everyone. What do you think the biggest challenges are in being a mom of color? Somebody start. I mean, I can start if you want me to, but
I'll say one of the biggest challenges has to do with finding a quality education for our children. And that's certainly within the home, that is within the community and the village that we built for our children, but specifically at school, and them getting the education that they're going to need to succeed in life. And so we want quality schools that are rigorous, and that's hard. Within the group, often we have moms asking questions about, around discipline in our schools, the fact that their children aren't learning at the level that they should be. So we need education that's, rigorous and equitable.
And so then some of that ties into the whole achievement gap and the low expectations that educators sometimes have from our children.
Absolutely. I would have to 100% agree. The reason I stay at home is because I need to educate my own children. Because at 4.5, he is reading first grade things easily, and still based off of his age, he can't go into kindergarten until next year. And so knowing the friends that I have and having the support of Brown Mamas, being able to remind me, I'm equipped, I can do this. And so let me figure this out and figure out how, because as I saw all the posts and I'm seeing all the cost of private schools, the reality is, as a married woman staying at home, people wonder, how are you doing this? But I don't see other moms that aren't Black getting those same questions as often. And so, especially even being pregnant, right now my fingers are swollen, so I can't necessarily wear my wedding ring all the time. And so there's assumptions of, oh, so your baby's daddy. And I'm like, well, that's my husband. Oh, really? Oh, your other children are his too? Well, yes. Oh, really? And so that's a lot of the things that I find. So it's education, but it ties into the whole perception and stereotype of what a black mom is, what a black family is.
And Brown Mamas, I feel like, has really been a catalyst in Pittsburgh for black moms feeling comfortable living our story. You know what I'm saying? That's a big deal for us because, you know, when I've been a stay-at-home mom for the last 10 years, just like Jessica. And now I'm working at home because I run Brown Mamas. But being a black stay-at-home mom it's very tough because you get all of these perceptions of what you're supposed to be doing, working. Most people say you're supposed to be working, and Brown Mamas just provides a community because we don't differentiate. Of course we have in our group, we have single moms. The vast majority of the group members in the group are single moms, but we also have married moms. We have moms who stay at home. We have moms who homeschool. Just a myriad of different ways to do motherhood. And I think what Brown Mamas does that is so great, it says there are a million ways to do this right. And it doesn't have to look all the same. It can look different, and we should celebrate our differences.
Okay, all right. Now you mentioned educational expectations.
Yes.
Brandy, tell me what you think the biggest challenge is.
For me, I'm a very complex mom. So I have a disability, I have 2 children, I'm a single mom. Motherhood is very different than it is for some other moms. And being in this group really helps me to look at my sister across the way and know that she understands, although she has not walked in my step. And you really need that support as a mom because it's hard raising children, raising boys, especially. I have 2 boys in this community, in this world that we're in. You need that support. So
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a whole conversation about boys. We're gonna come back to the boys. Tess, what about you?
You gave that question, I started thinking about so many things, but education definitely, and just trying to make sure that you're meeting all the needs of your children, you know, whether it be through education, their mental, health needs, their physical needs, going to the doctors. There's just so many challenges, I think, that come along with, with being a brown mom. Like Jessica was mentioning, I've had so many times when people have, referred to my husband as my boyfriend. They just make assumptions about you as soon as they see you, depending on like how you're looking or what you have on that day. They're just like, oh, I know exactly who you are. And then you start to talk and they're almost like surprised by what comes out of your mouth. And it's like, wow, that's because I'm black.
And then they say, clear. She's so articulate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So articulate, yeah.
Absolutely. So, there's just, the list goes on and on.
The list goes on and on. Well, we got time to talk about part of that list. We're going to do all that next when the Lynne Hayes-Freeland Show continues, so don't go away. We're also going to tell you how you can connect with this group of amazing women. So stick around. We'll be right back.
The Lynne Hayes-Freeland Show is sponsored by Dollar Bank, providing mortgages for mothers with less than perfect credit.
We're America's largest independent mutual bank. Without shareholders, we're able to think differently about the banking options we offer, the way we do business, the support we provide to the communities we serve. Experience the difference mutuality makes for Dollar Bank customers and our region. Dollar Bank, mutually inspired.
I'm attorney Blaine Jones. At Blaine Jones Law, I always fight for my clients. If you need an experienced and aggressive attorney to protect you, call or visit my website today. Trust in Blaine Jones Law.
In partnership with KDKA-TV, UPMC supports our current military veterans, and their families. I'm Dr. James Taylor, Chief Diversity, Inclusion, and Learning Officer at UPMC. At UPMC, our commitment to hiring veterans stems from our core goal of creating an inclusive workplace. Simply put, diversity is how we at UPMC achieve our mission and how we grow our business. Learn more about our military talent network at upmc.com.
Fort Pitt Capital Group congratulates Army veteran Jack Mook, owner of Jack's Boxing Gym, as the 2018 Pittsburgh Veterapreneur of the Year. Support Jack and other Pittsburgh area veteran-owned businesses at buyveteran.com.
KDKA-TV and our partners are proud to support our current military veterans, and their families.
At Waste Management, 1 in 12 of our employees is former military. In fact, we hire a veteran every day of the year. We have been recognized by Military Times, GI Jobs Top 100, and U.S. Veterans Magazine. We recognize hard work and dedication, offering great pay, bonuses, and benefits.
Visit Waste Management online today at careers.wm.com.
We are back here on the Lynne Hayes-Freeland Show. We are talking about one of the toughest jobs you can have, but also one of the most rewarding jobs you can have. It is the job of being a mom. I'm just going to keep this conversation going because I feel like we have a lot to talk about. Now, you all kind of mentioned that sometimes there is this stereotypical perception of black women, that we're not married, that this is our baby daddy. How frustrating is that to you? Because the realities are, in other communities, that's not the assumption.
Yes.
I think what gets under my skin the most is when people take it in the black community where it's sometimes looked at as a proud thing that you don't have children. That bothers me. Like when I see people post on Facebook and they'll say, I don't have any kids. And I'll say, well, I do, and I love my kids. And this is like something that I wanted to do, and I want to be there with them, and I enjoy raising them. And so I think for me, the stereotypes a lot of times that we're overcoming are from both without our community, because I've been, as a black stay-at-home mom, I mean, I can count on my hand. I used to live in New York, the amount of times I've been asked, are you the nanny, or are these your kids? Most people would just ask, are these your kids? And I'm like, yeah, they look like me. My kids look just like me. Yeah. So why wouldn't they be mine? So I think there's so much stigma around being a happy black mother. That's what I was saying. There's a lot of stigma around being a happy black mom.
That's a good point.
And you know what, that is a good point, because the realities are, there is a perception of us in society that we are angry black women, no matter what. And there's not any an ounce of anger at this table.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. That we're struggling, that we need help, that someone has to rescue us. I think that, all kind of ties into it as well.
And that we all do things the same. And that's the beauty about the Brown Mama Group, that we all do things differently, and we all pull and learn from each other because we do things differently. So because I nurse doesn't mean I'm looking down at somebody else. When I first had my first son, I was like, being a mother is the most competitive sport. I never knew it was a sport.
Wow.
Everything. If I was going to cloth diaper or not, if I was going to breastfeed or bottle feed, and all the other things. And then I realized, wait, I'm black. And then I was like, wait a minute. Some spaces that I thought were safe for me weren't safe for me because I didn't look like them, or my kids didn't look like them, or their grade of hair didn't look like theirs. So people would question, well, what are you doing with his hair? His hair grows like that, And so being in Brown Mamas really helped me to combat the negative that the world would say about me, about who I am as a black mom, and for us to be able to go online or offline and say, this is how I'm feeling today, this is what I encountered today. And some other mom will say, so did I, girl. This is how we're gonna handle this, and this is, you can do this, you're able. And it uplifts. And so we can be a happy bunch of loving our baby Brown Mamas because of Brown Mamas.
Because of the organization. Now, in the commercial break, you mentioned that being a mom is tough.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter all these other things that we're talking about. It's tough.
It's tough, and it's quite enjoyable as well. And to be perfectly honest, that is one of the reasons that Brown Mamas is near and dear to my heart, is because I was one of those moms. I was single before, and then I was married, but just like a lot of the other moms, or all the other moms in a group, I can still identify with being each one of them, regardless of kind of where they are in the stream of things. And I think that because we have Brown Mamas, it helped me to understand that motherhood is supposed to be enjoyable. Excuse me. You're certainly going to have challenges, but overall, it's an amazing experience, and you have to enjoy the experience along the way. And this is where I've ever felt safest in doing that. Even my mom is part of the group, and my daughter is part of the group. And it's an awesome thing.
Well, I want to pick up on something that you said, that, there are perceptions about us as mothers, and then it becomes what we tell our kids. Like, I remember one time a little boy asked my daughter, does your hair come out of your head like that? And she was like, what? You know, because in her mind, she didn't even know what he was talking about. So there are things that we have to talk to our kids about that other folks don't.
Absolutely.
Hardest conversation.
Absolutely. And I think because I have boys and quite a few of the mamas here have boys. So just having, and even when you have girls these days, because it's not just all the talks you have to have about things like police brutality, having talks with your kids about like with my younger two sons who've always been home with me because I homeschool them too. Before we would go out to the museum and stuff, like I would have to preface them like people would try to test them when we were out. Like if we would be out and I would say, they would say, why aren't they at school? And they would say, I'm homeschooled. And then people would say, well, do you know what 2 + 2 is? Or do you know this? Or do you know
serious?
That? Yes, I'm so serious. It happens all the time. Or people would say, well, what did you learn today? And I have to preface them now with like automatic responses. So when they say stuff like that, I just tell my sons to say, I learned something great today. What did you learn today? So, you know, it's just really difficult because because of these constant assumptions that people make about you. And so now you have to bring a whole, it's like other people's junk into your home and preface events, conversations, just things that we should not have to do because we're just trying to do what everybody else is trying to do, which is just be a good parent.
Which is be a good parent. And I know we got to take another commercial break, but I want to, never mind, we'll take the break then come back. There's no easy answers to where I want to go. We have a lot more to do this morning on the Lynne Hayes-Freeland Show. Don't forget, we're online at kdka.com. You can watch this conversation. You can take something away from it. We have more. Don't go away.